They built a system, we built a fire. They sold us safety, we walked the wire. They drew the lines, we broke the map. They pushed us down, we pushed right back. Born in a cage made of credit and lies, taught to comply, consume and survive. But now we see it, now we rise. Middle class soldiers with open eyes. No more silence, no more spin. This is where the shift begins. Not left, not right, not owned, not tamed. We burn the blueprint, we rewrite the game. You're listening to the Middle Ground Manifesto. This is the system breakdown. This is your reset. Let's move. They built a system, we built a fire. They sold us safety, we walked the wire. They drew the lines, we broke the map. They pushed us down, we pushed right back. Born in a cage made of credit and lies, taught to comply, consume and survive. But now we see it, now we rise. Middle class soldiers with open eyes. No more silence, no more spin. This is where the shift begins. Not left, not right, not owned, not tamed. We burn the blueprint, we rewrite the game. You're listening to the Middle Ground Manifesto. This is the system breakdown. This is your reset. Let's move.
You were born into a system that was never designed for you to win. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's economics. That's policy. That's architecture. From the very beginning, you were programmed to perform a role. Go to school, get the degree, take the debt, clock in, clock out, finance the car, lease the phone, swipe the card, pay the interest, obey the rules. And if you play nice, maybe you'll retire with just enough left to coast into your final years. Meanwhile, the real players, the architects of the system, are moving money through loopholes you've never heard of, investing in technologies you'll never be taught, and influencing laws you'll never read. And you are never supposed to notice. The rich aren't waiting in line. The elite aren't filling out job applications. They've been playing a completely different game. And the only reason you're still stuck in the old one is because no one ever handed you the rule book. This is Pepper Uncensored, the Middle Ground Manifesto, and today is the beginning of your exit. Not from reality, not from responsibility, but from obedience to a system that profits off your silence. I'm your host, Pepper, and this episode is not light. It's not sugar-coated, and it's not politically correct. It's the truth. And if you can sit through it, if you can breathe through the discomfort and keep listening, you'll never see the system the same way again. Let's begin. You were told hard work equals success. That if you kept your head down, played by the rules, stayed out of trouble, and didn't rock the boat, everything would work out. They told you to hustle in school, take out loans, work overtime, and sacrifice your peace in exchange for a promise they never intended to keep. But what they didn't tell you was this. The system was designed to reward ownership, not labor. And if you're not owning, you're being owned. You see, the promise of the American dream was never universal. It was always a sales pitch, one that got millions of people to sign up for a lifetime subscription to quiet desperation. Because the system needs your energy. It needs your compliance. It needs your taxes. It needs your fear of doing anything different. So they built a conveyor belt and dressed it up as opportunity. And most of us, we stepped on without asking questions. They taught you how to write a resume, but not how to read a balance sheet. They taught you how to follow instructions, but not how to spot manipulation. They taught you how to take a test, but not how to question a system. They sold you safety in exchange for freedom, security in exchange for sovereignty, comfort in exchange for truth. But here's the hardest part to accept. It worked. You believed that debt was normal. You believed that saving 10% of your paycheck was enough. You believed that the people on TV had your best interests in mind. You believed that if you just kept grinding, your time would come. But your time never came because you weren't in line for success. You were in a loop built to keep you exhausted, distracted, and dependent. So let me say this clearly. If you feel like you're doing everything right and still falling behind, you're not crazy. You're awake. You're not broken. You're in a system that was built to extract value from you while convincing you that you're the problem. And the worst part, most people don't even question it because the system has done such a great job of normalizing the grind. The anxiety is normal, the paycheck to paycheck life is normal, the slow death of your dreams is normal. But normal doesn't mean right. And in this podcast, we don't settle for normal. We settle for truth. They don't fear the rich. They don't fear the poor. They fear the middle. Why? Because the middle class is the machine that powers everything. You are the tax base. You are the workforce. You are the backbone of consumption. You are the reliable, predictable gear in the economic engine. And that's exactly how they want to keep you, spinning in place. The rich, they have power. They write the rules. They build the loopholes. The poor, they're often invisible to the system, discarded, blamed, or institutionalized. But the middle, you're just comfortable enough not to rebel, just scared enough not to risk anything, just tired enough not to ask questions. And that's by design. Because if the middle ever truly woke up to its power, the whole house of cards would fall. They've sold the middle class as a fantasy of security, progress, and upward mobility. But look around. Wages haven't kept up with inflation in over 30 years. The price of housing, education, and healthcare has exploded. The middle class is being squeezed, not by chance, but by policy. They push you toward homeownership, then manipulate interest rates to trap you in a 30-year debt. They lure you into college with the promise of a better life, then leave you drowning in loans that can't be forgiven. They inflate the dollar, then blame you for not budgeting better. It's not that the system is rigged in secret, it's rigged right out in the open. And you've been programmed to think this is normal. But here's the thing that changes everything. The middle class is also where revolutions start. When enough people in the middle stop fighting each other, stop begging politicians to save them, stop waiting for some moment of economic mercy, and instead begin to see the game for what it is and start building outside of it, that's when the collapse begins. Not of society, but of control. Because control only works when the people believe the story. And right now, the story is falling apart. You're not lazy, you're not broken, you're not underachieving. You're in a system that was built to profit off of your effort, your energy, and your belief in a dream that was never fully offered to you. And now, you're waking up. Not with rage, but with clarity. Not with fear, but with strategy. This isn't about rebellion for rebellion's sake. This is about realignment. Because if the machine doesn't serve you anymore, it's time to stop feeding it. This isn't just a moment in history. This is the moment. A rare, messy, beautiful window of transition where old systems are collapsing and new ones are quietly being born. And right now, while most people are arguing about headlines, elections, and influencers, the real shift is happening underneath the surface. You're living through a massive economic, spiritual, and political realignment. And if you know what to look for, you'll see it everywhere. The dollar is losing trust. Institutions are scrambling to stay relevant. People are unplugging from the narrative. The middle class is waking up and wondering, wait, what the hell is really going on here? That's what matters. Not who's in office, not what's trending, not what they want you to fear today. What matters is that for the first time in our lifetime, the door to financial sovereignty, personal ownership, and community-powered systems is cracked open. But it won't stay open forever. Right now, we're in the middle of the greatest wealth transfer in modern history, and most people will miss it, not because they're not smart, but because they're not paying attention. They'll keep chasing temporary comfort. They'll keep buying liabilities. They'll keep arguing about the puppet show on the political stage. And when the dust settles, they'll realize they were never in the game. But you're not like most people because you're listening, you're paying attention, you feel it. Something is different now. And deep down, you know you weren't born to repeat the cycle. You were born to break it. This podcast, Pepper Uncensored, the Middle Ground Manifesto, is not a place for empty motivation. It's a playbook, a toolkit, a fire starter, a rebellion, not of violence, but of vision. Every episode, we're going to break down a chapter of this awakening, from the economic chessboard to the blockchain foundation, from the old political pendulum to the new spiritual economy. But it starts here with one choice. Will you stay in the loop, or will you step into the shift? So before we wrap this episode, I want you to sit with one question. If nothing changes, what will your life look like 10 years from now? Now ask yourself, what would it look like if you took control of your time, energy, and money starting today? The difference between these two answers? That's your call to action. So let me say this plainly. No one is coming to save you. But that's not a threat. It's an opportunity. Because for the first time in a long time, you don't need saving. You need clarity, you need strategy, and you need the courage to stop waiting and start building. I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm here to show you what's been hidden, to hand you the flashlight and say, go look for yourself. Because the system only works when you stay asleep. But the moment you wake up, you become dangerous. Not violent, not reckless, but dangerous to the machine that profits from your confusion. So here's what I want you to do right now. Not tomorrow, now. Subscribe wherever you're listening, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, hit follow. This is just the beginning, and you don't want to miss the roadmap ahead. Share this episode. Send it to one person, just one, who you know is starting to question things. The conversations we spark now create the communities we'll need later. Reflect, journal, speak it out loud. Ask yourself, where am I plugged into the system that doesn't serve me? What am I giving energy to that isn't building my future? What does freedom actually look like for me? And what's one step I can take this week to move toward it? This podcast isn't entertainment, it's activation. Next episode, we dive into the pendulum swing, why politics keeps flipping back and forth, why you keep getting sold change that never changes anything, and how both sides of the aisle are playing the same game with different colors. But now, breathe. Just breathe. You don't need to figure everything out today. You just need to begin. Begin seeing, begin questioning, begin moving. Because once you move, once you break free from the loop, once you realize you were never meant to stay small, that's when you become unstoppable. Welcome to Pepper Uncensored, the Middle Ground Manifesto. Let's go.